This episode of the View from the Rock podcast is brought to you by Sign Dog Northwest. They're your source for custom signs, banners, boat names, fleet graphics, and more. Custom design services available. This episode is also brought to you by Merle Inc. They're the premier custom home builder in the Clea Elm area and a proud featured home builder in Sun Katy Resort and Tumble Creek. And this episode is brought to you by Rob Thomas Drywall, the #1 drywall company in Ellensburg and Kittitas County. Welcome to the View from the Rock. I'm your host, Ruck, and we're here on location on a deck that's owned by Ross Metcalf. I think we'd call this Dewey Beach, possibly. We're also here with some guests watching.
Live studio
audience, yeah. That voice you just heard was Papa Swappa. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How could you not be doing great here on location?
This probably should have made our top 3 views. What do you think, Morgie?
Yep, 100% agree.
We talked about it briefly.
I know that
It needs to be a top 5.
I mean, there's always another episode we can make about that. There's more episodes in the bag when you expand the list.
Maybe top 3 on Fidalgo Island?
We talked about that, didn't we?
I think so.
That would be good.
Yeah,
This would make the list.
for sure.
Not Rod.
So what are we looking out here? We're looking to the south. There are boats everywhere. There are crab pots everywhere. There are trees everywhere. There is water rippling. There are birds flying. What are we looking at over here? Is that Hope Island?
Correct. I think it's a little southeast.
Okay. And then through there, is that Camano off in the distance?
Ooh, like through the channel there?
Yeah.
Like close to Ruck's cabin.
Maybe, but we're not
Maybe.
sure it's Camano. And that over there is part of Fidalgo Island, right? I'm
I
pointing
think,
to
like
my
to the right?
Yeah.
That's Woodby. That's Alice Spit.
Oh, okay. So Deception Pass
Is right here.
Yes.
Because we're on Deception Pass Road.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
This is God's country.
Yeah. Hey, I'm super thankful that we can be here. Thanks, Ross, for inviting us out here. Awesome view. Couldn't think of a better place to record, obviously.
And we have a nice fire going.
Yeah.
We do. It's getting a little toasty over here.
Hey, so today
Swappy's closest to the fire.
Yeah.
in our episode today, we are going to be talking about Van Halen as our musical genre. We've been kind of going through different bands that we feel like have a large enough, what would you say, Swap?
Oeuvre?
Yeah, thank you. That we can actually discuss some songs. And, you know, the thing about this band that we'll be able to talk about is it had multiple singers. It actually had more than just the 2, which will be a fun fact if you guys know who the 3rd one was.
Ooh.
We're also going to have a beer of the week. Ooh, I think we got someone here in our guest audience who's going to know, which might be better because I know there's a 3rd. I just probably can't pull it out of my brain.
But what's the beer of the week this week?
The beer of the week is actually multiple things. I believe it's 8 bourbons. Is that what you call them? Bourbons? Bourbon's different than whiskey. Okay.
Just a taste, though.
It's not a Canadian blend. That's right. That would be a whiskey.
So an example of a Canadian blend would be like the purple bagged one. What's that called?
Crown Royal.
Crown Royal. That's
Where
right.
parents everywhere hid their coins.
How about CC? Canadian Club. That was a Grandpa Oz.
Yeah.
CC and 7.
Yeah, that's good. And then finally, we're going to wrap our episode up with top 3 ways to eat a potato. Before that, though, we have some things to discuss. I know, Morgie, you've been doing some pickleball, and this is your time to shine. So tell us, pickleball, what's been going on?
Well, just played in a tournament. My partner couldn't play because Luca had to go on showcase for football, so I added Derek for the weekend. I'm just still pissed because of sandbaggers.
So how'd you do?
We went 2-2.
Okay.
There were 20 teams. I think technically maybe 9th place. But didn't make the tournament.
You finished ahead of 11 teams.
Yes, and there were 6 teams that we considered to be 4-0s.
Now, is this the Strawberry Cup, or
That was the Strawberry Cup in Marysville. So And then there was a little scuffle.
Yeah, I was going to
verbal
ask.
scuffle. Derek
I heard there was some controversy.
and I, we had a lot of fun, and I love Derek. A little evil Derek came out, but it was amazing.
What happened?
I made a mistake. We were stacking.
What does that mean?
It's a term used to stay on one side of the court.
Is it legal?
It is legal.
Okay.
But I made a mistake where I served, and then the other guys didn't like it. We had to bring over an official, and the team we were playing, the hothead on that team was about 5'8". So he didn't really like looking at Derek, who's 6'3".
I want to hear about what you did. What is stacking specifically?
So that means that I'm going to stay on the right side of the pickleball court the entire time.
So even if you're serving from the right.
So if Derek's serving from the right, I am directly like 3 feet to his right. And then he's going to move over to the left.
Okay.
It's kind of complicated, but
Did you know you were doing this going in?
yes.
Okay.
And then but it was fun. I'm just frustrated with how you self-rank. So just one final thing about it is Brad and I played in our first tournament up in Bellingham, and we finally got a duper rating. So that's a pickleball rating system. And our ranking is a 3.83.
So you're a sandbagger.
So technically, we could be sandbaggers.
But you were playing at what level?
3.5.
Well,
They don't have a 3.75.
so either you're having to play up or you're playing down.
And there are 8 teams that were better than us that are 4-0s.
So is your duper rating like an aggregate of scores that they divide by
It's
something?
almost like a handicap in golf.
Yeah.
So it can go up and down.
Correct. So like Derek's is like a 4-1. And Maddie is like a 4.28. Maddie, don't get mad if I was wrong. Maybe a 4.3
That's who he normally plays with?
for
Mixed.
mixed doubles.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but it was fun. Just still got the bug, and I'm going to be upset that I'm heading to my cabin for a week and not going to be able to play
Yeah. You're heading there,
tomorrow.
yeah, the day after we record this.
Yeah.
There's no pickleball courts out there. Is pickleball not as popular on the east side?
Of the town of Ione, or if Colin would say I won, we actually there is actually a guy that runs he did my parents' bank for the river.
Okay.
His name's Dan Dawson. He actually has a court at his house, and he's really good. So we're going to go up and say hi to Dan and see if I can go play with him
In Ione.
in I-1.
Yeah.
How far is that from where your cabin is?
We are
10 minutes?
10 miles from our cabin to his house.
And Ione, I've been there one time. They've got a tremendous kind of grocery deli situation.
It's the best place to eat grocery food, deli
Yeah.
food.
Like, the old barbecue beef burrito, jalapeno corn dog kind of a thing.
Tornado?
Yes.
Torpedo?
Poppers, fried mushrooms.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Their JoJo's are good.
They have a spot to, like, sit there?
Yes. But we just take it back to the cabin. The kids love it.
That sounds
Now they can all
fantastic.
drive, so we hand them money, and they just go.
Bring it back.
They just buy everything, and then the locals get pissed.
That's awesome. What else we got coming up here? We got our micro wrestling. Is that right? That's got to be happening soon.
A week from Friday, I believe.
July 12th.
Yeah.
That's a special day. It's also my anniversary. And it's Brennan's birthday.
Your wife is a saint.
Because she wanted to go with the boys,
Yeah.
but it's 18 and older.
And then 1 week from today, I'm going on my California trip. I've got an Angels game Monday.
I forgot. I didn't realize that.
A week from today. Angels Monday, Cake Tuesday, and the Rolling Stones Wednesday. Then I get back, have a night off, go to micro wrestling.
So you got 3 nights in a row of concerts, or do you have some time off?
Well,
in between?
Angels game, and then 2 concerts.
Yeah,
then a
yeah,
night
okay.
off, then micro wrestling.
Where is the Stones playing?
SoFi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that an Angel game against the Mariners?
Against the Rangers.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you're going to watch Mike Trout?
is he hurt?
I don't even know if he plays anymore. I heard that he's feeling healthy. but he's been feeling good for a long time. Just doesn't really play a
Is
lot.
he going to be on the losing team forever?
Hey, can we talk about the Mariners a little bit? By the way,
Yeah,
the
we
last
should work that in
episode.
here.
No, the last episode. Remember, we talked about how this is the year. They're 10 games up. This is a week and a half ago.
They have fell
Are
off the
we
face
now
of the earth.
4 games up?
3.5.
I don't watch them anymore. I'm
By
mad at
the
them.
All-Star break,
They
we're gonna
can't
be
hit.
tied.
They can't hit.
Well, they've never been able to hit. Before this last week, they already had, at that point, the worst Mariners offense in the history of the Mariners, which is historically one of the worst offensive teams in baseball. So they were already bad.
They strike out more than any team in the league.
So how are we winning? Pitching?
Pitching and luck.
And lately, our pitching has not been that great.
Well, we have two guys that pitch consistently well: Logan Gilbert, George Kirby.
Yep.
But they don't hit. They strike out, and I think it's their approach. I don't want to get into it. I think they suck.
Well, you
I
know
love
what?
it when
You
you
were
get
so
into it, though.
excited a week ago. And then what is going to happen? What are we going to say?
I can't watch them hit anymore.
I have not
You know what?
seen one game the whole year.
You know what?
Keep it that way.
They strike out and they hit majestic fly balls.
This is what it means to be a Mariners fan, where you can be on top of the world and going, this is it. There's still a part of you inside that goes, it probably won't be.
And in 2
However,
weeks, it's over.
you expect that there's going to be a point where you go, no, who are the Mariners? I don't watch them, and I burned everything I own with their insignia. on it.
Morgie, what's my motto?
Prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Remember
that
we said that in April?
We did, and then it went good. But now, hopefully, we said that, and now it'll go good again.
All-Star break is next weekend.
I don't even know.
I don't, you want to know the most joy I get out of the Mariners is watching their box score and going, oh, I'm watching TV. I could watch this right now, but I know we're going to lose. And then they end up losing. And I go, I almost swore. That's right. I didn't watch that. And
I
was
don't think
correct.
they have one guy in their lineup right now that looks good at the plate.
I'm
What
really
about
worried
Big
about
Dumper?
Julio.
Big Dumper's hitting 205.
I don't even know what Julio's doing.
Julio is a mess.
And he signed for all that money.
Forever. He's signed until we're dead.
But you know what? The thing with his contract is that if he hits like this, he's not going to get all of what he signed up for in his contract. Like, his contract is pretty incentive based. So if he's an absolute stud, then it's worth it. And if he's not, then like it's still not going to kill our franchise. So his contract's fine, whatever happens. But
I just wonder, do they look at like, this is not working. Let's try to work on this.
What about trade deadline?
They need to. They might not need one bat. They might need 4 bats.
that's what I worry about.
So we're going to have to get rid of younger kids in the farm system.
the
No.
problem is
want that.
they have every guy in their lineup has the same approach. They all strike out too much and have a little bit of power, but it's not like they're hitting. It's not like they have anybody with 20 home runs right now. Like
gotta-
Mitch Garver has 8 or whatever, and they just every guy might run into a ball but strikes out too much.
Do we have an all-star?
Well, we have to.
Well, you have to have one from every
Yeah,
team?
Logan Gilbert.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I like him.
I do too. I like all their pitchers.
do you
He's
think
got good salad.
do you think that
Yeah, head of lettuce.
Are you talking about his hair?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Boom.
Do you think that it's more of an issue when you just let a guy work through it without trying to constantly make changes, or is it more of an issue to just constantly tinker with something? Was that coherent what I just said?
Yeah, it was coherent. I just think they have a systemic approach that is flawed.
Well, who's their hitting coach?
They fired their offensive coordinator.
God, that was terrible.
You shouldn't have an offensive coordinator. You should have a hitting coach.
Well, that's football.
I know they had an offensive coordinator that they fired.
So I guess then maybe my question is, do you think that these guys have an approach that is not going to change from what they already were, but they're getting them hoping that they're going to be different from what they actually are? Because I know they said in the offseason they're trying to cut down on their strikes. They said that.
That's exactly what they tried to do. So here's part of the problem is they get guys like Polanco.
Yeah.
Polanco is a guy when he's good, he is different than the other guys on the team. And he's been awful.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time we stop talking about him.
Yeah. They probably got way too much airtime. Just speaks to how much rage I have against
I'm
them.
just a little bit worried that Pearl Jam is something's wrong.
What's going on with Pearl
Yeah,
Jam?
what's going on with Pearl
So
Jam?
they've canceled their last 4 shows in Europe. Imagine you are coming from America. You fly over to Berlin to watch 2 nights of shows, and they're canceled. So people in the band are sick. Jane's Addiction just canceled their shows. They're sick. So I don't know. Something's going on in Europe.
Some sort of COVID round 2?
Maybe.
Round 8? Round 24?
I mean, are we going to be in lockdown in a year again?
I don't even know what to think. I think it's a conspiracy. I don't want to get political. I think it's going to be timed with the election. Do we want to talk politics?
I feel like where did you get that from?
Twitter.
Twitter?
It's called X.
Yeah, but like, didn't somebody say that that's going to happen?
I think Putin did, but maybe he didn't because it was on Twitter. Maybe they just showed a picture of him and said they said that.
So in other words, the conspiracy is that maybe we need to have a conspiracy hour.
Oh,
I mean,
might.
It wouldn't be an hour.
You know,
obviously.
maybe top 3 conspiracy theories.
I mean, that's good, but like, you know how we had Morgie's Midget Minute, like, or Micro Minute, whatever. Maybe we need to have like a little conspiracy where one of us is in charge of bringing in a new conspiracy they've heard.
Like pre-debate, the theory was that was not really going to be Joe Biden.
It's going to
at
be
the
a
debate.
robot.
It was going to be fake Joe Biden.
They could have gotten a much better Joe Biden if it was a fake Joe
If that
Biden.
was fake Joe Biden, they did poor.
I
They did a poor job.
They did
Hey,
a
I
poor
turned that on. That was hilarious. Just watching 5 minutes of that. I'm like, can we do better? Can our country just do better in general?
Yeah. I didn't have to watch it, thankfully.
Man,
Oh,
what is happening?
I would say that if you haven't watched Jon Stewart's recap of the election, I would say it covers both sides pretty equally, and it is hilarious and true. Have you guys seen that?
No.
no.
It's nice. It's good stuff.
So I just real quick.
Yeah.
Def Leppard is underrated.
What made you think that?
I just listened to him today.
Thank you for not talking politics.
A live show on XM, and they were good. Like Rowan was into it,
and they're
he-
coming to Seattle, right? September 4th.
Yeah,
We might need to go.
with Journey. I mean, what a great couple days.
And Journey doesn't
Metallica.
have Steve Perry anymore. They got the little Filipino guy, right?
Correct.
Can I say that?
But he's like still alive. Why doesn't he just join in? I don't get that.
Yeah, what happened there?
I would love to do on the podcast where I play Steve Perry or that guy, and you get to decide because you can't.
You can't decide.
No.
And he is like, yeah. But they're also with Cheap Trick.
I'm not a big fan.
You're not?
No.
Wait, so all three of them, Cheap Trick, Journey, and Def Leppard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all
That's
play
wild.
They all play for like an hour.
You don't like Cheap
Whoa.
Trick?
No, I don't.
What the hell's the matter with you?
Just like I don't like cake.
I like cake.
I don't like Rush.
I know.
Okay.
You know what? This is funny. I'm like the not the Sweden. I'm the Switzerland of all these bands. I like them all. Maybe not as much as either of you like those ones, but oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you said that Def Leppard's underrated. So does that mean that one of our future episodes we're gonna have to dive deep into Def Leppard,
Yes.
talk about their best songs?
Yes.
Well, I think I've told you guys this before, but I saw CMT Crossroads with Def Leppard and Taylor Swift 12 years ago, where Def Leppard sang Taylor Swift songs, she sang Def Leppard songs, and the Def Leppard guy, I thought, stole the show.
Joe Perry or Joe Elliott.
Joe Elliott.
Yeah.
Hey, Morgie, can you give me a sound check? I feel like I can't hear you.
Can you hear?
I think Morgie came unplugged.
Yeah.
Why'd you tell him?
Okay.
Now you're good.
Oh my
good.
God! I was talking the whole time. And
I don't know when that stopped.
I think it was
So
like
I have a faulty cord.
Yeah, we need to get a new cord apparently. That's funny though because no, we've been switching these around so much. Why would it have just followed you around every time?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Copland.
I'll be damned.
Copland.
What do we got
hey,
next?
so I think we're at the time where we're going to talk about our musical genre.
Let's do it.
Van Halen. When I was doing a little bit of research, Van Halen, named after the Van Halen brothers, I would say, Alex and Eddie, come from Yeah, they're I think raised, if not born, in California, but they came from Amsterdam originally. That's where their parents are from.
Okay.
Dad was, I think, if not well known, a musician. I think his mother may have been a musician as well. And early on, he actually, from what I read, was a piano like savant. Like he didn't read music, he did it all by ear and won like multiple piano competitions.
We talked about that before. Who was
Really?
it?
Dad or Eddie?
No,
Eddie.
who did we talk about before that didn't read music but just played by ear?
Oh, those are the Beatles, right?
Yeah, Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
which may or may not be true.
So he's piano phenom, and his brother is playing guitar, I believe, at this point. Now, in addition, I think that Eddie was also playing drums, and so then at one point, his brother Alex gets on the drums and starts playing, and is like, "Ooh, I really like this." And so Eddie's like, "Fine, then I'm gonna play guitar," and the rest is history.
Oh, that's crazy. Eddie Van Halen just went up my list by researching today about top guitar players of all time.
Like what were some things that made you respect him more?
Just how he manipulates the guitar. I mean, his sound is so unique.
Mm-hmm. Like his
And just
finger
how,
strikes,
yeah, and then
hammer.
how he has fun. Like he's smiling, and he was a big cigarette smoker,
Mm-hmm.
and just how he leaves his cigarette in the fret, like.
Yep.
But
Well, so you can tell from their first album, which was self-titled, eponymous album, Van Halen, 1978, that they have a different guitar sound because they have a whole song that's just guitar, Eruption.
yeah,
And that's the one with the big famous solo.
Yeah.
and everyone does it. Like McCready's idol is is Eddie, so he'll do Eruption at a con. I've seen it twice at a concert.
So Van Halen's first album was released in 1978. That's how old they are. And we had, correct me if I'm wrong here, Running with the Devil.
On that album, yep.
Yeah, Eruption. One of my favorites, Ain't Talking About Love,
You Really Got Me.
and Jamie's Crying.
And those are classics. And I'm not a huge Van Halen guy. I have nothing against Van Halen. They just never really resonated with me.
Yeah.
You know, the one that you didn't put on there was from that album was Ice Cream Man. You remember that song?
Yes.
It's a great song, and they continue to do things in Ice Cream Man later on in other songs that are similar from the standpoint of that song starts off and it's all acoustic, and it's got David Lee Roth laughing and talking in the background. Something to be said. We'll get into this more later, is that David Lee Roth is a talk singer.
Mm-hmm.
He is talking almost just as much as he is singing in the songs.
Like when you listen to, well, it's a song on a different album.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on a second. Unchained.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way he like just laughs. He screams. Like at the beginning of the song. And just, how he makes those weird noises.
So we'll talk as we get into this, David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar versus their other singer. I'm a David Lee Roth guy.
Me too.
And was he a great singer? Hell no. Was he a great frontman? Hell yes.
Yes.
Maybe the best. Like David Lee Roth knew exactly who he was, and he was 100% who he was at all times, and he kicked ass.
You know what? I think he might be the most athletic frontman I've ever seen. In terms of how he would jump, do the splits. Like
When you watch like the old, like we were watching at my house earlier
Yes.
today, when you watch their old videos, and he's out there with like the leggings
Yeah.
and nothing else, and he's doing splits, he's athletic as hell.
I know.
Have you heard about how he ended up joining the band?
No.
So in my research, originally, the Van Halen brothers are playing around LA. They play a lot of backyards and all that kind of stuff. And They're getting to be big, but whenever they play a show, they have to rent their musical equipment. So they rent it for $10 from David Lee Roth every time they play a show. And eventually they kind of realize, like, hey, why don't we just invite him to be our front man? Because it'd be a lot cheaper. So they invite him to be their front man because they want to save money. And
That's awesome.
at that point, the interesting thing then when you compare Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth is that Sammy Hagar has, I feel like, an ear or an interest in making music that is pretty popular. He has a real popular sound to it. When he joins the band, his stuff is a lot more synthesizer heavy. But like when David Lee Roth is doing his thing, the thing that's different is that, like, I feel like he lets Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen, kind of do his own thing. Like the songs from the David Lee Roth era are full of weird guitar riffs and trills and all kinds of like high level guitar stuff. Because Eddie, that's what he wanted to do, obviously. And so then the interesting and like cool thing he's able to do is with his talk singing, he can like weave crazy amounts of words in between all of these riffs and things that Eddie Van Halen's thrown out there. And then when you get to Sammy Hagar stuff, it's like a different Eddie that you hear.
Well,
It's
and
like,
do you remember David Lee Roth doing his solo album?
Yes.
Eat 'Em and Smile? Was it Eat 'Em and Smile?
Yeah.
Where he looked like a cannibal on the cover?
Yes.
And he had, what was on there?
Just a Gigolo.
Yes. Oh, God, I just drew a blank. But he's doing the talk singing, and they have the talking guitar.
California something.
California Girls,
Yes.
the Beach Boys song.
Yeah.
Right? And they're doing the talking
yeah.
guitar.
Oh, yeah.
With,
My boys love that album.
yeah.
They love it.
But that was like
Solo.
what you're talking about, Ruck. That was like that on steroids, where the interplay between him and the guitar and just his ear for that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of Van Halen, it's when we grew up, it was 1984. That was the album. We were right in the middle of MTV,
Yeah.
just starting.
I know what you're going to say. My favorite video ever.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the earlier podcast, we did top 3 MTV videos, and Hot for Teacher was one of the top 2.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest music videos I've ever seen. When you're 10 years old,
Yeah.
like it blows your mind.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Well, you need to go
What?
on YouTube
What?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely rock. Hasn't seen that.
I'm on brand.
But you think about all those songs: Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher, Drop Dead Legs, All Wait, Top Jimmy. Like there's only 9 songs on the album.
I mean, so if we're going to get into like one of the things that definitely pushes me more towards Sammy other than just the general sound, like when I was looking back through the albums from the David Lee Roth era, I feel like there's 2 albums that are good, and then the rest of the albums, it's just sort of like, I don't know if there's any songs I really want to listen to. And they've got like 3 or 4 albums in there.
Yeah. So
Like-
one quick thing, I don't know, Ruck, if you've heard this, but I was looking through today. Someone was asking David Lee Roth why he only has songs about sex, drugs, and fast cars.
Isn't that what everyone else does?
Well, so he realized that he actually had never had a song about fast cars, so he got to work on Panama. So if you think about the lyrics,
Well, doesn't it start off with the like roar of an engine?
yeah, but ain't nothing like it. Her shiny machine got the feel for the wheel, keep the moving parts clean.
Yeah.
I can barely see the road with the heat coming off it. It was about Eddie's. He had a Lamborghini.
You're like a
Ooh.
poet over there, Mr. Morgenthaler.
So is it Panama because the car was Panama red or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
1974, he got it from Valerie.
Valerie?
His then wife,
Wow.
Bertinelli.
Wow.
Do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
No, I know you know.
Yeah.
Ruck, do you know who Valerie Bertinelli is?
No.
One day at a time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Remember that show? That was a great show. Bam.
Yeah, she was famous.
What a country.
So you're gonna have to look up this the show One Day at a Time. It is real.
I
We're
will.
not lying.
No, I will.
But 1984. I mean, look at the album cover. There's like a 6-year-old smoking a cigarette.
Well, but it's supposed to be Van Halen, right? With wings, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So some rock critics, historians, whatever you say, feel like they were the first hair metal band. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, in some of their albums, you can see they've got the bigger hair, but they aren't nearly the glam sort of band like maybe a Cinderella or like
Poison,
or what's the other one? Motley Crue.
Rat.
Like,
Yeah.
they don't dress up quite like those guys do.
I know.
That's not what their thing was.
And I think they were better musicians.
Yeah.
But as we say that, David Lee Roth was not a great singer.
Well, I think if David Lee Roth probably had his own way, he would have bought into that. But I imagine the rest of the band members, like Michael Anthony, were like, no, screw that.
Yeah.
So do you know what Michael Anthony named his bass?
Jack Daniels.
Yes.
He liked to drink, I take
So
it.
his bass is Jack Daniels. His name is Jack Daniels.
So
There's one show where he has it shows like Jack Daniels logo on the bass.
A couple things I remember now that I'm thinking about it, as far as how their band was made. So Michael Anthony's in another band at early stages. They ask him to join, and he's like, I'm not sure if I want to. And then his bandmates for the band he's currently in are like, no, you should join this band. Like, they're much better than we are. So he joins them. And then David Lee Roth was the one who had the idea for calling the band Van Halen. Originally, before that, it was called Mammoth.
Oh,
No way.
Yeah.
wow!
Which-
So
That's
what?
Wolfgang's.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I had
that
no
brings
idea.
It all back
Yeah,
together.
it's crazy.
Oh, man. I just kind of got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. So Mammoth is the band
Huh.
that Wolfgang Van Halen is what the lead guitarist, singer?
And singer.
And
singer?
they're
They're
opening for Metallica, right?
Yeah, and they're not bad. They're not bad. Like I like him.
I haven't listened to him much. So running down sort of the albums that were the David Lee Roth era, you've got Van Halen, 1978. You got Van Halen 2, 1979. The song from that I liked was Dance the Night Away. Now, it's
Yeah.
a super different song than the rest of them, but that was the only song for me that, like, I really liked.
Well, and Beautiful Girls.
I listened to it. It wasn't something I'd really listened to before.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have liked it eventually, but it didn't stand out for me. Moving on to the next album, I think it was Women and Children First. I think the big one from that was In the Cradle Will Rock.
Yeah.
And that was 1980. Next up is Fair Warning. I think you've got that on there.
I
don't you?
do.
And that was-
Unchained.
yeah,
That's one
Unchained.
of my favorites.
I love Unchained. It's great. I actually think that Unchained, in some ways, sounds more like a Sammy song than it does a stereotypical David Lee Roth song. It's got a lot of, like, catchy,
Yeah.
poppy
Oh, yeah.
stuff to it.
yeah.
Um,
Diver Down.
I honestly didn't really like that much in it. It's got a lot of covers. It's got
Yeah.
a few covers, like Dancing in the Streets, Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
They do a really good Pretty Woman, though.
They do. Absolutely. So then we've got their 1984 album. And it was the same stuff that I put down. I'd never, when I was listening through it, I'd never heard Top Jamie before. It's kind of a fun song.
Yeah, it is.
That's a fun
Yeah,
song.
I know.
You know,
How
a couple
about
off 1984 that we didn't mention were. Sorry, my phone froze.
Well, there's only two left.
No, Why Can't This Be Love? Did we talk about that? That was like
That's not on.
That's not on
it's
that
not
one.
not 1984.
No.
That's a Sammy song.
Oh, I'll be damned.
yeah.
That's on
baby.
5150, isn't
Yes.
it? Nice.
So let's move on to 5150 then. So 5150 is Sammy. That's his first album. It's kind of cool that 1984 was one of their best albums, and it was David Lee Roth's last one. So then they move on to Sammy in 86, and that's probably Sammy's best album. 5150 has Why Can't This Be Love, Dreams, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds, Love Walks In, and then 5150.
And Why Can't This Be Love was like maybe the closest thing they came to like a rock ballad.
Well, so once
'Cause
they
ballads
got
were done. Yeah, they were ending.
Well, but once they got Sammy in the band, every album of his has at least like one ballad. It's a
Yeah.
much more thing that he was into, obviously.
Because he could kind of sing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even on Balance. Like Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, Can't Stop Loving You.
Yeah, Take Me Back. Well, Take Me Back not as much. It's just softer.
See, and I don't know a ton of Sammy stuff with the Van Halen. I mean, it was more for me OU 812.
Yeah.
I was just all old Van Halen. And I love Sammy as the original Sammy by himself.
I can't drive 55.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, I had a Sammy song down for OU812. It was When It's Love, but that was it. But then Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
4.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess that's important
Yes.
because of the acronym. So that's 91. I just got a hands up in the air, of course. But on that album is one of my favorite songs right now. I believe that has.
So right here, right now, like that's what he says, but it's called Right Now.
Correct.
No, there was
You
a.
will be, yeah, I know what it is.
I think Right Here, Right Now was a Jesus Jones song.
You know
Am I
what?
wrong about that?
Well, but he says right here in the lyrics.
Okay.
But it's Right Now is the name of the song.
You know what? Here's the cool thing is that because we can play songs, we think, I'm
10
going to play it
seconds.
right now. And you get to hear the
So
amazing piano.
isn't this in like a boxing movie? The Right Now?
I think
It's or in some movie where athletes are trying to work hard because they're listening to the song.
I feel like didn't the Chicago Bulls at one
Oh,
point
yeah.
use this as an
Oh,
intro
yeah.
You know this song?
Yes.
No, they did not.
song? Well, they have Serious Eye in
It's
the
Alan
Sky.
Parsons' project.
Is
Yes.
the Chicago Bulls song?
Yes.
This sounds very Chicago Bulls.
It does, but it's not.
No, I'm ready for a team to run out of the tunnel right now.
Well, so I'm going to play that one because I know that they do play that Alan Parsons project.
Yes, that's where
And
we did that.
The
At,
name of the song is Serious Eye in the Sky.
yes.
Music is a tremendous addition to our show.
Yeah, as long as we don't get canceled from YouTube. Otherwise, people, I guess it's fine. People just have to come listen to us here.
No, because we can't do that because you have your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, but I mean,
Is it all connected?
if you build it, they'll come. Let's
So, I mean, think about like when you watch The Last Dance too.
Field of Dreams.
We came out at my senior year in college to the Bulls right here. This is how we did it
Yeah.
at home. Like this right here, as soon as they start going,
Oh my
oh,
God!
I'm ready to.
Yeah,
I just
I have
jumped
goosebumps
10,
right now.
I just jumped
You
10
just
inches
dunked.
higher.
You dunked, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Reverse.
But that sounds super similar to.
I mean, and now your Chicago Bulls.
I know. Ron Harper.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Luke
Yeah,
Longley. Scottie Pippen.
Rodman,
Rodman.
Steve Kerr,
That was the greatest team. We need to talk about the Bulls.
Horace Grant.
You know what?
Horace Grant, Cartwright.
Let's have an episode where we talk about
A team.
the Bulls.
Let's have an
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
where we talk about a
We
team.
don't talk about sports enough. Okay.
No.
I'm not sure if some of our listeners agree with that.
How
We
about
should-
'96?
We should just
Sonics
pick a
versus
crappy
Bulls.
Mariner team and talk about a crappy Mariner team.
Yeah. so
In
that I
left
can-
field, Phil Bradley.
How about Gaylord Perry pitching?
Yeah,
I
getting
got
his
to
300th win.
I got to meet him.
Okay. Well, let's head back to what we were supposed to be talking about, which was
Sorry, Finish What You Started is my favorite
So-
OU812 song.
so. Wait, Finish What You Started is your favorite OU812 song?
Yeah.
You want me to go play that? Is
Yes,
that
and
what you're
after that, Hot for Teacher, the intro.
saying? Okay.
So the intro and they say 1, 2.
What'd you say it was?
Finish What You Started.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. This was one of the good ones I know.
See,
so-
yeah. Come on, baby.
you might be the next singer for Van Halen.
Please.
Will you do the intro for Hot Teacher? Hot for Teacher.
Oh,
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
what's amazing?
I'm going to
go ahead.
1984, right?
Yeah. Is like they had little miniature versions of the band.
They did. Remember they had.
So
Listen to
the
that
crazy
drum.
part about this is, yeah, it's drums. And for the longest time, I thought this was actually like a car. Like,
Yeah.
was Alex Van Halen on the drums?
Yep. And he always drummed with his shirt off.
So that's 18 seconds.
Wow, that could ban us.
That was 18 seconds.
They'll
of
give a
drumming.
Van Halen exception.
Yeah. So we were on for unlawful carnal knowledge. The other one on that one, 316, super good guitar solo. Now, it's not your typical one because it's just this sort of acoustic sound.
See, I like it.
This is on, I think this is how he opens one of their live album or live videos or something like that. What else am I looking at here? I think that's
Is Eddie in your top 5?
guitar players?
Yeah.
Oh, hands down. Definitely.
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a huge Van Halen guy, but he's 100% on the Mount Rushmore.
Now, the next album they go to, they're top of the world on that one, I think is pretty good, but
See,
I don't know if we need
now
to play
from
it.
now on, you've lost me on all Van Halen.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Because he's doing like newer Van Halen. right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because we went past 5150.
No.
But, okay, this is actually one of my favorite Van Halen songs, and it's from a movie. Maybe you guys can tell me the movie.
Oh, man.
Oh, Swap might be winning this one.
I don't know.
I'm just sitting out here. We're still looking at the water.
We're looking at the water. I can see
Today's the first day of crab season.
3 boats
in
and
this
maybe
area.
70 pots.
Oh yeah.
This movie had Philip Seymour Hoffman in it. He was not the star.
Not
but
Boogie Nights.
It was also Bill Paxton's movie. He was the star.
Twister.
That is correct.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, baby.
Really?
Woo! Wow.
And so that was just on the Twister soundtrack. That wasn't on any of their albums.
I did not get the Twister soundtrack, by the way.
Helen Hunt, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there's a new Twister
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that's right.
next month with
Bill Paxton's in it, right?
no,
he's dead.
the guy that played in Top Gun 2,
Oh,
Glenn Powell.
dude, he's going big.
Yeah,
he's big.
He's
time.
the man.
Was Helen Hunt in it?
No, her last relevant movie was
What was
when
the
her
show?
husband died.
Oh God, what was the TV show she was on?
It was on NBC.
It was. What was the show?
And he was a comedian. Ruck wouldn't know. He was 5.
Yeah.
I know. It was a good show.
We need to fact check that.
Yeah.
So I don't have much left other than right before that they did Balance 95. That was Sammy. And then they do Van Halen 3, 98. That's Sammy. And that's one where he's catching the bowling or the cannonball in his stomach. And I literally had no songs that I could even write down from that because I didn't recognize anything. But that is not their last album. 24 years after the disillusionment of the David Lee Roth era, he comes back in 2014 and records an album with them called A Different Kind of Truth. It's fine. Nothing on it that I bothered to write down. But yeah, that's where you end up with. The only other thing I would say is that if we're given Van Halen
Oh, I got a couple more off OU812.
that you want me to play.
Cabo Wabo,
Yeah.
Black
fine.
and Blue.
Those songs are just okay. Like,
I just,
this is Cabo Wabo.
yeah. Dude, his guitar is so good.
See, Sammy's voice, dude, it's sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
So on 5150, we got Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
I love Dreams.
Yeah.
Play it.
Here's that synthesizer. But they did synthesizer in 84.
I didn't say they didn't ever do it, I don't think.
But you think they're heavier with
Oh.
Sammy.
Oh, yeah. So, like, we go to another one
Well,
on
like
that
Jump.
album. So, yeah, Jump, definitely. And that's 1984.
Yeah. Play the beginning of Jump, because in PE, Swap and I played Jump.
So this is
And Kids
Oh,
Jump.
yeah.
this is best
Yeah.
of both worlds.
Oh, yeah. I know. I like this.
This is a toe tapper.
Oh, yeah. This is a toe tapper.
So why don't they do the Super Bowl halftime show?
Dude, that'd be awesome. But he died
I
from
know.
cancer. So
But but my point being, I don't want to see Bruno Mars anymore.
Did he die because he smoked?
I think he probably was unhealthy for a long time.
So I will say, Jump may be their best song. Maybe not my personal favorite because I love Right Now, but here's Jump from 1984 with David Lee Roth. Oh,
Dude, it makes kids run faster in PE. It does.
and now Michael Anthony, was he the one that was playing the synth?
Eddie.
Eddie played it?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense since was the piano phenom.
See, I did that. Yeah, that makes me. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now this is perfect timing. Before I think we're about ready to wrap up Van Halen.
We have our
take a
studio
little
audience.
break.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ruck. Our studio audience just came out all carrying glasses of bourbon.
So
Oh,
we're about to wrap up our first section talking about Van Halen, and it's perfect timing because we never mentioned who was the third singer for Van Halen.
only one person in this room knows, maybe two.
It's like a hard pass on that.
Brad.
Forgot his last name, but Gary from Extreme.
Gary from Extreme.
Yeah, it's from
And
Extreme.
Extreme was their big hit was More Than Words, but they were not More Than Words. Extreme freaking kicked ass.
Now, they did an album. Was that Van Halen 3?
Oh, I knew that too. God damn.
It was the guy from Extreme.
Actually, I can find that up pretty quickly.
I tried to block that out.
More than words.
Sign Dog, guitar player for Extreme.
Was this his brother?
Nico?
Nuno Betancourt.
What?
Yeah. Gary Sharon. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Van Halen 3. That maybe is the reason why there's no redeemable songs from that. So, yeah, I think that's what we got. You guys have anything else you want to add about the band known as Van Halen?
I think ask the listeners to vote, send an email of if they're pro David or pro Sammy. I think you're going to get more David Lee Roth.
Rock, you're the social media guy. Can you do an Instagram poll?
I can definitely do an Instagram poll. I can put some things in different formats. So we'll throw out an Instagram poll to you about which singer was the best part of Van Halen. And, I'll even throw in Gary Sharon in there. See if he gets any pity votes. Although it might be the third party that's just taken away from the real votes. But I think
Right. He's like Ross Perot.
I think the other ways that we can get that out to you is you can comment on our YouTube video. Throw a comment down there. Who do you like better, David Lee Roth, not Eddie Van Halen, Sammy Hagar?
And if people want to email their
and-
thoughts, how do they do that?
You are getting in my flow, bro. You can email us your thoughts or opinions on greatest Van Halen frontman at theviewfromtherock@gmail.com. That's correct, right? You're staring there like I messed it up.
I think it is.
View from
I
the
think
rock
he's just
at
staring
gmail.com.
He's staring at the beautiful landscape.
Okay.
It's mesmerizing.
All right, we're ready for a break.
Breathtaking.
Welcome back to The View from the Rock. We are still out here enjoying ourselves. It's a beautiful day out here on the deck, and we are to our beer of the week portion of our show. However, as we know, today we will not be doing a beer. We will be actually sampling multiple bourbons and then trying to figure out which one is the best. Ranking them actually from 1 to 8. I
Faceless,
believe.
nameless bourbons.
Yeah, so we might call it this is a blind taste test, or is this double blind, or
The Pepsi Challenge, if you will.
yeah.
With
So-
bourbon.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
think that we're ready to get underway. So we have, I think, some things that are like tasting notes for each of these. And
Thank you to Ross for putting all this together.
This is, I think if you were to go somewhere and do this on the open market, this would be,
probably $200.
yeah.
This would be at an auction
Yeah, totally.
that someone would bid more than 200 for.
Yes, but that's what you get when you are the View from the Rock podcast.
Okay. Okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
Bourbon number 1.
Are you going to read the notes for us, Mr. Morgenthaler?
I am.
Okay.
Flavor burst up front.
Ooh.
Exclamation point twice. Hot dose of rye spice immediately followed by honey, peaches, and subtle hints of brown sugar and light oak. The palate isn't deep as much as immediate, since you're bombarded with all the flavors at once. It coats your tongue, ensuring you get a healthy dose of flavor with each sip. Truly a delicious bourbon.
Let's give it a try.
Wow.
So-
How can you top that?
So are we
We're
gonna,
on number 1. We have 7 more.
If I could go back in time, I would become a writer of notes for bourbons.
I just want to preface this by saying I don't drink whiskey or bourbon or any of that kind of stuff because I don't really enjoy it normally. So we're going to see what I have to say about any of these because there's a real possibility that all of this to my palate is just like, yeah, that tastes like Jack Daniels. Hopefully that's not the case.
That
That's a 0.
I can taste the brown sugar in that.
Yep.
Can you taste the oak?
A little. Light oak.
Is there like,
I'm trying to get the peaches.
is there a method for how you taste it?
So what you want to do is let it touch different parts of your tongue.
Interesting. Linger.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good bourbon. I don't know how I'm going to be able to rank 1 through 8.
Well, right now that's my number 1. Hey, Mr. Morgenthaler, what would you pair that with?
I actually would pair that with sitting at our cabin with a nice ribeye.
Ooh.
I think generally bourbon and steak is the thing that goes together, right?
Well, I like a good red with my steak.
I like bourbon with a nice strong cheese. Maybe an aged cheddar.
We don't have any more of that.
We do. We have a nice, maybe 1.5 ounces of aged cheddar right there.
That was amazing. Shout out to Rooster.
Yeah, we had a nice cheddar, a 10-year aged cheddar from Wisconsin, provided by Rooster Harris tonight that we had in between segments.
Are we ready for a second?
Well,
Number
you
two?
need to cleanse your palate because there's some nice salty nuts right here.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Good one. We're live.
I mean, regardless of that, I think it's really necessary between each of them because I feel like after I taste one, my palate is very burnt.
Yeah.
Would you say your palate is compromised?
Yeah, I mean, that's not a it's just like,
rookie.
well, it's just I feel the hard
It's a
alcohol
little
in it.
hot.
Yeah, hot. Thank you. Yeah, not a reflection of the whiskey.
Okay.
Also, can you hear in the background? We also have a fire.
Crackling.
Yeah,
Ross has
popping
an
off.
amazing fire pit. This area
This is
is golden.
yeah, this is it's a magical setting.
Would you say it's God's country?
I would.
All right, number 2. Like the aromas, the sip is also soft on entry. With cherry raisin
Do I need
and
to read?
caramelized sugary notes first. Well, that one was different.
So, Mr. Morgenthaler reads these and we think that it's not a skilled thing. It is.
I take pride in when I read
do.
these.
So cherry raisin, caramelized sugary notes first. A touch of rice spice along with an almost port-like flavor. Round out of the back end. You might have to do this. This turns me like
I need to start over. Come on. Go ahead, continue.
I'll finish.
Of course. Jeez, here we go.
Being a finished rye, the sherry The sherry cask finish seems to become more evident here. It's gentle and easy to drink, with a well-rounded and nicely integrated flavor profile. I'm not sure what any of that.
You ready to taste number 2?
I think I was drinking number 1 out of Mr. Houston's glass.
Oh,
Buster.
Oh, that's good. Ho, 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 ho. What do you, is that what you have right now, Mr. Metcalf? Holy cow. That is
Oh
smoother
my God, that is so good.
than a baby's butt.
So, Ruck, you should not feel the hot that you feel
gonna
from
say that-
number 1 to 2.
no, I don't. That first one, no, it seems like something I probably drank in college, begrudgingly compared to this.
Holy cow. What would you pair with that, Mr. Morgenthaler?
Maybe like a pork tenderloin.
I'm trying to think. I get a lot of that caramelized sugary flavor.
A cigar. That's what I'm going to pair it
Oh.
with. Everything is paired with a cigar. Like, that's exactly what it is. So I can't wait to go to the cabin and I'm going to smoke cigars every day.
There is something about bourbon with a cigar.
Yeah. That was a really good bourbon. Really good.
I think I've smoked my last cigar at home.
At home.
I mowed the lawn. I told this story one time, like my 3rd year of marriage. 10:30, 11 in the morning, I went out and mowed the lawn and smoked a cigar just to kind of see what Mrs. Swap would say. She was not a fan.
You've smoked cigars before
Yes,
at your house. Past that point.
on the deck.
Yes. But not on a lawnmower.
Correct.
You were pushing a lawnmower with a cigar.
Yeah, I look like Tony Soprano.
Oh, that's a good call. Maybe I don't have a refined palate like you boys. I don't like cigars or whiskey.
What about
I'm sorry to be disappointing.
a really good cigar, like
I
high end?
unaware of that existing.
It's so good. Number 2 is my number 1 right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Swap, you're reading number 3.
Number 3.
I think this is going to be an easier one to get through than I.
It's shorter.
Yeah.
The nose is complex with aromas of toffee, hints of orange peel, herbs, honey, leather.
Leather. Ruck's like, what?
It's interesting because,
drinking
like,
leather?
why do you want leather to be a note?
Honey, leather, and oak. The taste is bold, dry, and delicate with notes of candied almonds and very rich cocoa. The finish is dry and lingering. This is number 3.
You read that really, really well.
Thank you.
You might be the new reader.
No, you're the reader. This is number 3.
At this point, I'm the only
My
one.
palate needs to be.
You just heard the crunching of nuts.
Yeah. Or a chip or something.
Okay, you guys ready for number 3?
Oh, I'm ready.
This one sounds, based on the description, the best.
Oh. Man.
Oh,
Wow.
that had some late flavor there.
That is good.
Was that the leather?
Maybe. Came up from behind.
Oh, my goodness.
That is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a second taste.
Me too.
I feel like I definitely get that orange peel in it.
Man,
That's
I'm,
tough
yeah,
between those last
okay.
two.
So I'm gonna
I'm not a
I'm gonna
big-
have to go back to number 2 again.
I think I'm going 3-2-1 right now.
Oh man,
But I've got some left in each of my cups, so I can go back and taste if I need to.
oh
Well, I'm up number 4.
Yeah, you definitely have to read that
Damn.
one.
Okay. Mr. Morgenthaler.
Oh my gosh. This is
I can't read that. Where did you get these descriptions from, Ross? Off their websites?
Some of them were off the vendors' websites, and some of them were off bourbon aficionado
Okay.
weirdo websites. So kind of a combination.
So, a combo of aficionado websites and the distributors' websites.
I've seen 3 words that would make Ruck laugh.
You're not
if he
you're
read
not
it.
gonna make it through this.
I only see 2, but I'm curious what
There's
that third
another one. on
No,
the second.
you're not gonna make it through this.
Oh, I see the third one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm just looking.
Okay.
Hold on here. I need it.
You need to like look away from this.
All right, here
Don't
we go.
don't look at him.
Creamy mouthful with initial rich sweet notes of honey and caramel, followed by nuts, oak, and pepper spice that starts on the sides of your tongue. The nuttiness and oak fade as pepper spice from the rye takes over the entirety of your palate. Finishes with creamy sweetness that coats, followed again by oak and pepper spice that lingers.
Dang, you killed it.
I can feel it in my plums.
I felt like
That
I
was
was
not part of it.
felt like I was watching Cinemax at 1 a.m. right there.
In 1987. 1987. Cinemax was different. All right, hold on.
Okay, number 4. Man,
This so initially it just feels more mellow when I smell it.
I feel like I'm drinking out of a glass from 1978. Well,
Oh.
it looks like it. I love it.
That pepper really gets going.
oh God, that's good.
Is this pepper going to make you sweat, Jason?
No.
You're such a tough guy.
I cannot decide right now between 4, 3, and 2, and let me tell you that 1 was good.
I've already decided. I have my top 4 in order.
What would you pair with this?
A nice cigar. That's all I'm going to say now.
How about a nice carne asada
Yeah.
with some lime crema?
Maybe. I'm thinking a cohiba.
What the hell's a cohiba?
Jesus. Oh, excuse my language. It's a cigar. Cohiba is a brand. Do you know any brands of cigars?
No.
Swap?
All I know is Cuban or Swisher Sweet.
What do you think, Rock?
It's an interesting one for me. It's kind of tough. That it's got such a pepperiness to it. Like the initial
Yes.
taste I really like, but then I don't like when it gets into that peppery spice.
I think I don't like it as much as 2 and 3.
I think
It's
my-
very smooth though.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree. I think right now my ranking is 3, 2, 4, 1. Or should we not be sharing until the end?
I'm not sharing.
Well, that's fine. I'll be the Switzerland of sharing because we know that my opinion doesn't matter.
It is interesting to listen to your take on this.
Because you know that I know nothing.
Well, but you've never done this.
That's true.
I just felt the beginnings of hiccups.
Oh, no, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
That's some bad stuff.
we still have a half hour.
I'll be okay.
Okay, so we're going to pause this for a second. Take a little
man.
intermission because we're going to reset the bourbons.
Hey, but before you sign off, I just want to say this has now become my favorite episode.
Well, yeah.
It's different. It's different because we're now doing stuff like a little live, like sitting here, drink, talk.
Novel's
Yes.
always fun, especially for us because we do this so much. But it's also really important that this is a segment that our viewers let us know how they feel about. So if you really like this segment and think we should change it up where we compare things, like compare bourbons, could be comparing fast food burgers, whatever it might be. I know that's a little different end of the spectrum there, but whatever it is, let us know if that's something you want us to do at theviewfromtherock@gmail.com. Welcome back to the View from the Rock podcast. We are ready for flight number 2 of our bourbon tasting. Jason, can you tell us about bourbon number 5?
The medium-bodied palate leads with caramel at its most prominent flavor. It continues with the soft, mellow sweetness of vanilla, which is supplemented by raw sugarcane sweetness that layers in. Light oak adds a gentle touch of depth and complexity. Peppery spice emerges on the back end, contrasting what is otherwise a sweet, forward above average sip.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I tried my best.
You're much better at this than me. I just can't hold it together.
So I'm sitting here looking at my notes again before I taste.
Oh, I think that one was by far the best so far.
For you,
Yeah.
Oh, that is so good. It is
I
smooth,
can smell the vanilla right before, even before I taste.
and then the you can feel the fire at the end of it.
Yeah, that's being catapulted.
So you can
Oh
tell
my
by that
God.
sugarcane sweetness.
Yep. The caramel is quite prominent.
And the peppery spice emerges at the back end.
It does. Yeah, that's fact. No cap.
What?
Oh man,
Was that just like a... What'd you just say? You just said something that, like, my kids would know. No cap.
yeah.
You're mid.
Yeah, there's a lot little brain rot set in right there.
that is good.
I was being a little skibbity.
So, Mr. Morgenthaler, what would you pair that with?
A Cuban cigar. Like, that's a good one.
I would have that with some nice brisket.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
could do that. So why do you, I mean, everything could be with a steak, brisket.
know. That's
Like, but you're not doing this with a salmon.
No.
You could.
You can do whatever you want, but I'm smoking a good ass cigar with this.
Wow.
Excuse my language.
Okay.
No, I'd have a nice steak with that.
Am I reading any of these anymore, or are you
You're
guys
reading number 6 if you can. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay.
We are on number 6. Did you write your notes down for number 5? Number 5 was good.
Are you writing notes?
I think number 5 is in my top 3.
Boom.
Nice.
Goes the dynamite.
Yeah. We ready?
Okay, let's do number 6.
I've
Oh,
got a thumbs up.
look at this.
Number 6 has a slightly fruity aroma with notes of orange, vanilla, caramel, and honey. Note of vanilla, toasted marshmallow, creme brulee, peaches, and soft rye spices dominate the palate and are complemented by a soft undertone of oak.
Wow.
That's a lot of flavor.
Creme brulee?
Yeah, if this tastes like creme brulee, this is going to be number 1.
So Swap's already started. He already drank it.
Yeah, it going. Oh, just the smell right off the bat.
Damn.
That creme brulee, I can smell it.
Damn.
Ooh. So, do you say what? Caramel or caramel?
I think you can say either one.
I say caramel.
Caramel sounds like a higher level.
You know, if there's
Caramel is mid.
there's caramel in Snickers bars, and this has a flavor of caramel.
Okay.
Oh, rock.
This is, yeah.
That's good.
Like if
Oh
all
my
whiskey
God!
tasted like this.
I just tasted this, and I think this is what Ruck would be able to drink.
100%.
Like, this is exactly what you could drink.
Well, if all whiskeys tasted like this were bourbons, then I would actually like to drink bourbon.
Oh yeah, Ruck.
That's wild.
Whatever. When we
Damn.
find out what it is, I'm gonna get you a bottle.
I don't even know.
You'll try.
Oh, yeah. I guess I won't.
So, hey,
Wow.
what would you pair that with?
Some vanilla ice cream.
You know what? I think these pair with ice cream.
Yeah.
So, are you a vanilla ice cream guy? Because I am.
Much more than chocolate. I
No,
hate
I'm
chocolate
straight
ice cream.
vanilla. Like when I used to grow up, I was just vanilla ice cream.
So, how do you guys feel about like when you go to like a good old fashioned milkshake place? Do you ever get a vanilla malt?
Yes.
Never had a malt.
You've never had a malt?
You've ever had a frozen malt at a Mariner game?
I've had milkshakes. I don't know that I've ever had a malt.
So I get a malt when it's available.
It gives a thicker mouthfeel, right?
So it has malt
Yeah.
in it. So like the innards of a malted milk ball
Right.
is malt. So back in the old days, they would have a chocolate malt,
Right.
Yes.
but some places will have a vanilla malt or a chocolate malt.
So have you,
So what do you think it does for?
It's a flavor. I can't describe it, but
it's a little thicker.
Is it sort of like putting MSG on salty things just brings out the flavor? You
Maybe.
think the malt just brings out the rich caramel undertones?
it might.
Okay. Are
Have
we
you
ready
ever
for number
had a
7?
Wendy's Frosty?
Yeah.
Okay. So, swap. You're reading number 7.
I've got 7. Sweet and unusual floral notes coupled with vanilla. The taste is very well balanced with sweet fruit notes, strong vanilla undertone, and sharp spicy tones with a cinnamon finish. This is number 7.
I mean, I do like that it says that there's strong vanilla undertones.
Hey, real
Not
quick.
sure how the
the
spice is
sound of
gonna be.
freedom right now.
There's a jet flying overhead.
Yes.
There's a jet flying overhead.
We'll see if we can hear that afterwards.
And we have someone in our audience who is ex-Navy. What's that?
I think being ex-Navy is like being ex-Seahawk.
Once Navy, always Navy.
Legend.
Yes.
True legend.
Well,
That's good.
I get that cinnamon finish. Definitely.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. This is so good. This episode right now is so amazing.
It's a little harsher for me, but I do feel like I like it better than some of the other ones.
I think that might be my number 1. Is that what you have right now?
Oh.
It's I keep using the word smooth. It's smooth, but it has a lot of
Oh. You know what? It
Yes.
comes off strong at first, and then it's nice and smooth. Yes. Oh, I agree. Oh, I'm writing down my notes, and I'm continuing to change. Are you writing down anything?
I'm
How are you
writing
gonna
down.
how are you going to be able to pick 1 through 8?
Well, on every one I have written down, this might be my number 1.
Like I'm continually changing my order right now.
So that one, what would you pair that one with? You know what I would pair it with?
What?
Cheesecake. Like a nice, rich cheesecake
So,
with berries.
So when are we ever going to have a bourbon like that with cheesecake at your house? Never. Like we're imagining things
We could.
that aren't going to happen.
Doesn't that sound good though with
It
cheesecake?
sounds great. Oh, it sounds oh yes. Because the cheesecake is a little rich. The berries
Yes.
make. Oh, I agree. Oh, hold on a second. I'm gonna write down a couple things.
Okay. I'm not writing anything down. I just have a ranking
Well,
list.
how do you have a ranking list if you're not writing anything down?
Because it's like I know something's better than the last one or not.
Oh man, that was good.
That was
Number 7 is my new number 1, and then 2 and 3 are 2 and 3 in any
you
order.
can't say anything.
Well, I'm not, but I did.
Okay.
I'm fine
Okay,
with my
now we're on to
rankings.
number 8.
Number 8.
Ruck, you saying number 8?
I can read it. I'm capable of this.
Can
if you
I
want me
just
to.
say that we're doing palate cleansers, and we have the best cheddar cheese I've ever had over here.
I should probably get on that. I've just been doing the Tostitos.
We had 10 ounces, maybe 5. How many ounces of cheddar did we have?
Don't say that.
4.2.
We had
Oh.
an aged cheddar from Wisconsin, courtesy Rooster. That is the best cheddar cheese I've ever had.
I agree. It was the best cheddar cheese I've ever eaten in my life. Like, it was so good. I love a sharp.
It's very similar to that Irish cheese that you could get at Costco for a while. I don't know if they still
The
have it.
Dubliner.
Yeah, Dubliner.
Yeah. And it's
Like a
like that
cheddar
is
version.
made with like milk straight from the cow.
Mm.
Straight from the teat, if you will.
Nice. Number 8 has notes of honey and ripe cherries that give way to a palate with hints of vanilla, warm spices, and dried fruits. Finishes with lingering flavors of wood and cherry. So here we go.
Hey, you spoke well during that one.
Thank you. That's interesting. It's nowhere near as harsh as the last one. Dry, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
I like it. Swap? What?
It's really smooth, but it's almost too smooth. You know, where some of these are really smooth, but then at the end you get a little kick.
Still in the game.
You know what?
I agree.
Still in the game.
I
Still in the game. Very subtle. Wow. I'm impressed.
that's in my top 4. Just letting you know.
What would you pair it with?
A cigar from Cuba. Not a Swisher Sweet, Ruck.
What? We did black and milds. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember having your first Swisher Sweet, and like you'd inhale and half of it would be gone?
No, I didn't remember that. Half of the cigar would be gone. You inhaled like you smoked that much at one time.
Well, it's compared to like a good cigar.
So what do you think makes a good cigar?
Tightly packed, rich.
So what does that mean? So Ruck can know.
So it's dense. It is densely packed. It has been tightly rolled.
So that means that you can hold your ash for as long as you can.
It's going to take longer to smoke because the material in there is denser.
So when the kids, when they were younger, they were like, "Dad, you have like a 5-inch ash." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good cigar."
Yeah, it'll sit there in its ash state
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yes, that's a great cigar.
Yeah.
So we're looking. Do we rank?
You know, so I really agree as far as it goes with Swap. As far as I felt like it was super smooth, but the flavor sweetness was not as present. I felt like it was a little mellow, and you got the hints of cherry for sure at the end. But I felt like it was, I don't know, if maybe drier than the one that was my number 1. So I think it's going to slide in there probably at number 2 or 3. I guess it depends on if you wanted to have a lot of flavor. I felt like the flavor just wasn't as present in that one, but smoothness is nice. I mean, Well, I have the key here before me.
You have the key?
I have the key too.
Okay, should we reveal what our number ones were, or like rank order before we reveal?
Well, real quick, at break, Ruck was talking about his brother loves to sample bourbons.
Yep.
And he's going to take a picture, and his brother is going to just go nutso, I think,
Probably.
when he sees what you got to do today.
This was probably, if we were on the open market right now, which we're not, this was probably $1,000 worth of bourbon we just tasted.
Yeah, that's 100% correct.
And I
So-
appreciated every taste.
Yeah. You know, after tasting one of these, it definitely made me think that there are some cases where I would have some bourbon from the standpoint of normally when guys are having bourbon.
Yes!
Normally when guys are having bourbon.
Rock, yes! Woo! We got him! Yeah!
Well, I'd be super selective. It would be like, oh, that's what you're having?
Yeah.
I'll try it. Oh, no. I think most of the time I'd be like, no thanks.
Oh my gosh.
But like
I'm
number
actu-
6 for me still was number 1. There's,
Number 6 was.
yeah, absolutely.
What was your number 1, Mr. Morgenthaler? Or do you want to go with number 3 first?
Number 3.
Your number 3, not number 3.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we should say our top 3 from 3, 2 to 1. That's what you were saying. Got it. Okay. So yeah, number 3. Forget what I said for number 1.
Okay.
So what's your number 3, Ruck?
My number 3 was number 7.
Ooh.
And should I say what that is? That is Weller Antique 107. Did I say that right?
Oh.
That's your number 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Morgie, what was your number 3?
Number 5.
Number 5 was Rowan's Creek Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey.
So my number 3 was number 2.
And that was minor
Oh.
case
That was my 2.5.
straight rye whiskey.
Ooh. Do you want to go like snake draft and go my number 3 next? My number 2 next?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, my number 2 was number 3.
And number 3 was Eagle Rare, which out of this whole list is the only one I'd heard of before.
Eagle Rare, there might have been an unconscious bias because,
Because you've never seen that before.
oh my God. Yeah. Because that was
So,
the last
hey,
one I drank.
That was my number 4.
What was your number 2, Mr. Morgenthaler?
My number 2 is. What did I say when my number 3 was? Do you remember?
Your number 3 was number 5.
Yes. So number 2 is my number 2.
So number 2 was your number 2?
Correct.
Okay.
Love it.
Oh, and we skipped me.
Your number 2. Your number
Oh,
2.
snake
my,
draft.
My number 2 was actually number 5, Rowan's Creek as well.
Okay, Ruck, what was your number 1?
My number 1 was number 6, which is Caribou Crossing.
Ooh.
Wow.
Morgie, what was your number 1?
No, you know what? No, because I'm just talking about what I mean, there could have been something that happened earlier in the week about Roscoe talking about that bourbon.
Okay.
Oh man. It's amazing.
Did you say what your number 1 was?
No, not yet.
You kind of freeballing it?
It's
I thought you had the notes.
I do. It's right there. I like number 7.
Are you saying
But
that because
they're
I said
all
number 7?
no. But I mean, they're all number 1. Like
Oh, okay.
the top 4 are. It's just they're good. They're all good.
So my number 1 was number 7.
Yeah.
And what was number 7 again?
The Weller?
Yes.
Weller Antique 107.
So you're gonna take this and give it to your brother and say, "Ha ha! Look what I did! Suck it!"
Yes, sir. I'll do that.
So, studio audience, is there any one that you're disappointed in that we didn't have in our top 3?
I just love that when Ruck tried number 1 first. My palate is burnt.
The number 2 is one that no one has ever heard of.
So number 2 is my number 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sleeper.
Okay.
This whole thing.
Yeah.
So we now have been presented with a number 9.
And please add your list to the show notes so the listeners can see. Gotcha. We will
Yes.
do that. So, and in
Yes.
case you couldn't hear it, Ross was telling us, because he was the man behind the curation of this list, that number 2 was a sleeper, that most people have not heard of it, and that was the Minor Case Straight Rye Whiskey. So, he's now added a
Number 9.
A number 9.
wild card that's supposed to throw our list into chaos.
Palate
And-
cleanse. I'm going to have some Wisconsin cheddar.
You want to grab me a touch of that? Just grab. Yeah. Share.
Yes,
Share.
please.
Sharing's caring. Oh, I thought you were.
You were supposed to like give us not just
No.
eat yours
Well,
and then
no.
pass on the
Honestly,
table.
I'm glad he did, because at this point
Jeez.
it's all mashed up.
Oh my god.
That is the best cheese I've ever
Oh
had.
my
That
god,
cheese is
Dave, I love you.
bonkers.
Dave,
That is the best. I want to go to Wisconsin right now and just eat cheese for 2 days.
Brewster, you're the man.
Oh my God. That is the best cheese I've ever had.
We should taste cheeses.
So number
yeah,
number
we
9.
talked about this, didn't we?
We did. Well, somebody.
Top 3 cheeses.
Well, but like we need a sampling of cheeses. A cheese array.
Okay, so number 9 we have poured in a small quantity, and we also have the bottle right now wrapped in a shroud.
How do you spell that?
SHROUD.
That's how I would have spelled it.
We're proud of you.
So number 9 right now is hidden in front of us, and we're about to taste number 9. Are you ready to taste number 9?
So
already
there's
did.
not a write-up, though.
There's not. I would say that immediately it is very sweet.
I can tell by Swap's reaction that he likes it. Oh my goodness.
That's the best one.
Dude, that is so good.
That's the best one.
That's number 1 right now.
That is number 9 is number 1. Number 9 is number 1.
I'm trying to think what flavors I get in there. I definitely get sweetness without. Yeah. Okay. Ross says apricot, and I agree.
Have you guys ever had a beer that has been like they'll take a bourbon barrel that's emptied and put the beer in that?
Yeah.
And so you have a bourbon taste to the beer.
That tastes like it tastes like one of the bourbons we had. Like it's almost like the Keller that we tasted. What number was Keller?
You saw the bottle.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. And because that's not even Keller, it's Weller.
There was not a Keller?
There was a Weller, but not a Keller. Ross, what is that?
Jason is being a cheater. Oh. So this is a Weller, the original wheated bourbon that's aged 12 years. Weller 12.
That's my number 1.
That's number 2 for me.
That's my number 1. That might be the best bourbon I've ever tasted.
So what can get better?
Pappy Van Winkle.
So the way I feel about this one is that I can tell with its sweetness, there's a lot more flavors in there that I should be accessing, because there's a lot of flavors I feel like that are challenging for me to put my finger on. The other one that I liked, the Caribou Crossing, was also really sweet, but I felt like it was more of a single dominant flavor to it, which made it really good for me since I don't know what I'm doing. That like vanilla that was in it. So if I had to choose one, I think I like the other one better, but I can see that if I knew what I was doing, I would be probably looking for something that I'm trying to like challenge my palate with that was still really sweet.
That is the best thing I've ever tasted. It tastes like wings of angels with unicorn horns.
Oh yeah, I love it. I just love how you're so relaxed.
That was so good.
You're sitting back in his chair.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Swap, and he's just like, he's looking out. I got screwed kind of on this little situation because I'm looking at you two.
You can
'cause
look
I
at the
always
water.
do, but I have to turn around to get to the water.
No, that was so good.
Oh, that was amazeballs.
That was the best. I don't know how the listeners feel, but that was the best episode we've ever had.
Well, the episode's not done. We still have to talk about our top 3 ways to eat a potato.
Should we
Okay.
take a break?
I'm gonna go number 3 right now.
I guess we're not taking a break.
No, do you want a break?
I don't need a break.
We're talking about going to the bathroom, and you're going to go number 3.
We can just go right now.
Let's
Hold
roll
on
into
here.
it. I already got my list.
Let's go.
Hold on.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I need a beer.
Okay.
Okay, Kay, can you grab me one? PBR.
Okay.
Well, should we
But
take
then
a
are you
break?
going to do number 3? And then
Let's
I'll
do number
give
3.
you a beer.
Oh, am I doing number 3? Who wants to do it? I'll start us.
Okay.
Because we're a rudderless ship right now. Number 3 for me. So we're talking about top 3 ways to eat a potato. I have to say, I do not like baked potatoes. I don't like them. It's no. Number 3 for me is a nice scalloped potato.
Ooh.
I love scalloped potatoes. Now, I'm not sure what the difference between a scalloped one where it's like sliced versus like cubed up ones. But like either one of those for me is kind of the same thing. But I love to do a scalloped potato where then you throw in like some pieces of ham into it. That is just a meal in and of itself. I love scalloped potato. Number 3.
That's a great number 3.
That's a good number 3.
So we're going to go the opposite snake order. My number 3 is the same thing,
Oh,
but it's also my mom's recipe. So there's just a little cheese, like there's no ham, but I love just remember watching her do like through the potatoes through the slicer.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's always number 1 for Christmas, Thanksgiving.
So is it like a cheddar cheese sauce that's on it?
Yeah,
Or
a little bit, yes.
different cheeses then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my number 3.
Okay, so my number 3 is my mother-in-law's cheesy potatoes, which there's no magic recipe to it other than everything my mother-in-law makes is better than anything else anybody can eat. And it's like the frozen hash brown cubed like potatoes O'Brien with a bunch of cheese, maybe an ungodly amount of butter.
Oh, yeah.
And every family function we have, she makes cheesy potatoes. And at the end of the night, she sends them home with me. And then I will eat them and just put pepper all over them, heat them up, and it's just magic.
Sounds awesome. If we're going snake order, I think you're number 2.
So number 2, leftover French fries or tater tots.
Leftover.
Leftover French fries or tater tots. Like if you go to the Brown or the Vagabond or Dad's and you have any leftover potatoes.
Really?
Yes.
So you put them in the oven?
No, what I do is I put them in the frying pan with butter
Oh,
to
no way.
to re-crisp them and rejuvenate them. And
my
then I
God.
put fried eggs over them
You're just like my dad. He does that with pizza.
and cheese and hot sauce and maybe bacon crumbles.
I have a question.
Bacon bits or crumbles?
Crumbles.
It's more of a philosophical question that I
Okay.
have. Do we feel like slotting it in number 2 can be both French fries and tater tots? I realize you could do this with either one.
It's any
But-
rejuvenated
So
potato side.
so it's like refried potato.
So when you have your leftover French fries or tater tots,
I've never done that. I've just thrown them away.
correct, and I put them in a to-go box, and I
Yes.
bring them home, put them in a frying pan with butter.
So it's the act of rejuvenating
The
them.
rejuvenation of them, to make them young again.
Yeah.
Putting fried egg over them. The fried egg is the key. Wow. That is, to me, that is one of my best leftover meals that I will ever have.
I dig it.
With the fried egg, is it over easy?
Yes, it is. So
Okay.
egg is running everywhere. Cheese is melting.
Because egg can't be over hard.
No, if you do egg over hard, I'm not even sure you're an American.
Well, what about when you do steak like super well done, like my aunt?
Steak
Like
is
no, it like it has. She goes, it has to be burnt, so I have to stand on the grill for an extra 2 minutes.
You know,
and
3
ruin
minutes.
good meat.
Yeah,
I definitely prefer like over easy eggs. They should be runny, just like steaks should be, fairly rare. I don't know if I like it rare, like medium rare. But I understand some people just don't like things that were alive to not be fully cooked. So like I'm not
But-
gonna give
but
someone a hard time.
A rare steak with horseradish.
Yeah, a little horseradish crema.
No, pure horseradish.
Wow. Okay. A little au jus to dip in too.
If it's on a sandwich.
Okay.
Sound of freedom.
oh man, it's so awesome.
Sound of freedom.
Jason, we're back to you. Number 2.
Well, hold on a
Whoa,
second.
look at that view. You can see it right from here. Taking a little
That's
pause in the
awesome.
action. I don't know, listeners, if you can hear that, but
We can see it.
we just got buzzed by the jet. That was easily visible from where we're at,
Yeah.
not high up in the sky.
So my number 2 is my mom's mashed potatoes.
Oh. With gravy?
Well, no, I don't even need gravy.
Because she does it so well. It's
So, but she whips them with her whip, whatever the thing is. But she adds, it's not cream. It's like whole milk,
yeah.
and then tons of butter. And then whips them, and then it's just fluffy. And then I used to make a boat,
Yes.
and then I put butter in the middle. And then you eat out the sides until, like, you figure out the volcano's leaking. And then you're just like, you suck all the butter up with them. Oh, it's like everyone asks about them every
Yeah.
time. Like, can you please make them?
Yep.
And it's not hard, but I think it's the whipping. So there's no lumpy.
But when your mom makes it, it's better.
Yes. Just like my mom's crust for her pies.
I mean, if we're going to start going down that list, you could go for quite a while. Number 2. For me, it's just tater tots. I love tater tots.
I do too.
I love tater tots so much. Dipped into a nice ranch. That is a great place to be.
So
You know,
have you done...
And I'll add on to that Mexi fries, like
Oh, from taco.
from Taco Time or from the taqueria. Yeah, Swapper.
Have you done tachos?
I have not done tachos. I think I'd like them though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I like nachos. And I
Were
like
you
tater
not
tots.
listening? Jack.
I was listening.
Oh.
I know what they are. I just haven't done them.
So tachos. They're not my number 1, but I'm going to say tachos maybe as their own category. Tachos with barbecue sauce, asada. Tachos with gravy,
Yeah.
cheese.
I think that if you did a poutine but with tater tots, that'd be pretty dynamite.
Oh my God. Tater
Ooh,
tots
poutine.
are the most underrated, probably conduit.
But a good tot, I mean, it's hard to come by. There's no tots. I mean, Brown has a tot.
You know who makes a good
Fidalgo
tot?
Drive-In.
Yep.
Buffalo Wild Wings makes a good tot.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
The problem is too many places undercook the tot. You need to err on the side of overcooking the
Yeah.
tot.
You don't
They
want a
need to
mushy
be
tot.
super crunchy.
You want a crispy tot.
Yep.
The hobby tots.
They sometimes undercook them, but they are good. A little bacon on top. All right, I'm gonna power on to my number one. Number one is more like what you guys have been saying, as far as it's a specific dish that it's not like my parents made it. It's something that I discovered. So I follow this guy who used to live in San Fran. Originally, he's from the East Coast. Now he lives in Seattle. His name is Kenji Lopez, and he's like a food critic. Used to write for Serious Eats, wrote for New York Times for food, and he sort of does a lot of stuff about the science of cooking. So this crispy potato recipe that he has is unreal. So basically, you got to use Yukon Golds because of their starch level, and you cut them up into like quarters, and then what you're going to do is you're going to like parboil them in water that's a high alkaline water. So you actually add baking soda to it. And the reason you do that is you want to open up the outside structures and cells of the potato. So then after you get the water off them, you throw them into a container that is full of butter and oil that you've been cooking with garlic and chives. So it's kind of permeated throughout that. And then you toss it in that, and it starts to make this like slurry that coats the outside of the potatoes. And then you put them back into the oven at like 425, and it creates this incredible thick, crunchy shell on top of those. And if you're feeling really extravagant, you make some like clam chowder or something like that, and you don't actually include potatoes in it. You just put that on top of those crunchy potatoes. They're amazing.
That sounds like I want you to make that for us.
It's good. You can find the recipe online. It's not too hard to make. Sometimes you got to get a little screwed up if you don't have enough oil to make that slurry with.
I don't even want to say my number one now. After that,
I'm ready.
my number one is just Thanksgiving mashed potatoes and gravy.
Solid.
Yeah, mashed potatoes, make a boat, like Mr. Morgenthaler talked about, and you put the turkey gravy on there with butter and go to town.
I love it. I love the twice baked potato. That's my number one.
Oh,
And then you like the crispy skin, and then you have everything in the middle. I mean, little sour cream, chives, butter, whatever you want.
Twice
I mean,
baked
hot
potatoes,
sauce for
so
you.
do we have any honorable mention?
Well, I love tots. I mean, tots were hard, but I gotta go to my mom's recipe for. But tots are 4. I mean, I love a tot. I'm taking a tot over a fry every day.
I mean, I think like poutine could have easily been on my list if you're including a way to eat potatoes. Like, I love poutine.
But poutine is not I don't
It's
know.
a way to eat potatoes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think
I think my wife would have that number one.
Poutine?
She's always looking for the greatest poutine.
I love poutine. I probably should have been a little more extravagant and put that in my number 1 or 2. I could have put tater tots down there, but I also like a good JoJo, like the JoJos at Dad's. Those JoJos are unreal.
You know where I
The
went?
best JoJo is in I-1.
Ione,
Yes.
nice.
You know where I went a couple weeks ago was Shakey's Pizza.
Oh, Shakey's.
Do you remember the Mojos at Shakey's Pizza
Where'd you go to Shakey's?
in Renton?
Where do Shakey's exist?
I don't
other
even.
than Renton?
I thought they were decrepit. I thought they were gone.
Like Pizza Hut.
Yes, but Shakey's Pizza has the mojo, like a flat, round potato,
Oh wow,
fried, crispy, and you can do, dip it in the blue cheese dressing, Ruck.
Are you a blue cheese? You're a blue cheese guy and
I
not a ranch.
love blue cheese.
I love both.
I don't want ranch.
I don't know if I had to choose what I'd pick. Situational dependent.
Yeah. Man, what a great episode, you
Hey,
guys.
thank you, Roscoe. I always think of Roscoe when you say Roscoe, Dukes of Hazzard,
Roscoe Coltrane.
Roscoe Pico.
Sure.
I don't even know. Ruck's never even seen that
Yeah, I
show.
don't know what you're talking about.
What?
I know the Dukes of Hazzard, but I've never watched the old show. You know,
I used to slide.
boy.
I like that
Never
song.
meaning no harm.
I'm thankful that we can now, play some music. We're hoping, because hopefully we don't have to hear singing from you guys as often as we used to. Hey, it's been a great episode. Thanks to our live studio audience. Thanks for Ross for curating that list, making this happen, letting us take over his amazing property here. Remind us, Swap, if someone has something that they would like to suggest or complain about, where they need to email us at.
theviewfromtherock@gmail.com.
And Morgie, do you remember all the places that people can listen to our podcast?
You can do it on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That is 100% right. And until we see you next time, be safe.